Hey, Audrey.
Crystal Dawn. I was looking forward to seeing you today.
Oh, thank you. Same. I woke up and looked at my calendar and was like, yay, to hang out with Audrey for a little while. Before we got on this Facebook Live, I was looking at Facebook and scrolled a little bit and saw that one of my best friends from junior high, her dad passed away, and he was also a teacher at our school. And so I was sort of shocked, and almost every time I go on Facebook, I see someone who has passed away, and I'm feeling the season of completion. This is coming upon some death day anniversaries for my family. And I don't necessarily feel sad or like a wave of grief coming, but what I do feel is this sense of, oh, I want to reach out to all the people that I love and make sure they know how much I appreciate them, because if I died tomorrow, I would want them to know that, so I wouldn't have to come back and haunt them. So the practice of personal death awareness and living a fulfilled life today looks like me texting people that I haven't spoken to in a while, and telling them how much I appreciate their contribution to like the formative years of my life. And that is a practice, like that is a personal death awareness practice.
I was thinking as you're saying that there are a couple, and specifically teachers, I don't know if they're alive or not alive, and I don't have their contact information nor like connection with them on Facebook, which is like the common place to hang out. But just that practice of communicating so that you feel communicated, and that couple things. One is that I think initially that can feel really overwhelming, because especially if you have a lot of unexpressed stuff, to like look at all of it and be like, oh crap, and that process of getting started and expressing, and how that to me fuels itself. You start to feel the results of communicating to, all the way through. And then, how that changes how my body feels, and how that becomes the inspiration to continue doing that. And then also those people that maybe are already gone that we're incomplete with, and how I can still communicate. Like I might write a letter, or I might, if you were a fly on the wall in my house, I'm often talking to myself or talking to the space, or I might think, I have some flowers over here, like really notice who they remind me of that may not be on the planet anymore, and actually talk to the flowers as, until I feel complete with whatever I want to express. And then also just that feeling of just energetically communicating. I'm thinking of these two particular teachers right now. One was my first grade teacher, and one was my English teacher in junior high, who made a significant impact in my life at the time. And to be communicating my gratitude and my appreciation to them for how they impacted me, and that is also a completion for me. So that ultimately completing is an inside job. Sometimes I get to do it with the person or with an experience. And sometimes, just asking the question, like, where do I feel incomplete? Something may come up, and rather than like, no, I can't do that, I don't know their phone number. It's like, oh, I can actually send an appreciation energetically, or I can write something down, or I can say it out loud, or find a photograph of them. And in, all cases, to be communicating all the way through until I feel kind of a clean slate kind of feeling. And sometimes it's not always the pleasant stuff, sometimes like, but usually once that goes through, there's some kind of appreciation or gratitude that follows that up.
Yeah, I love that you spoke to that. Sometimes it's not always the pleasant stuff, because sometimes I'm incomplete with something that feels unpleasant. And so to be able to express that, I don't need the other person there to express that too. And especially if what my unpleasantness, has nothing to do with them. It's my,
Right.
my dance space, my experience and my stories. So, but the importance of expressing that and writing the arc of those,
Right.
Those experiences and feelings.
And just getting it started, because what I think, I always think of overwhelmed. If something feels overwhelming or I feel overwhelmed, it's usually because I have too much inside me that hasn't gotten expressed, or I'm contracting around something. I'm scared of saying something. And in both cases, too much energy or too small a space creates that feeling of overwhelm, like the energy is too concentrated. So like, breathing and making a little more space inside me and expressing is for me the remedy of that overwhelm. And then what comes in the wake of that is this feeling of availability and aliveness. And because there's space behind that. It's my contraction around something or my putting the lid on something that needs to get expressed that actually causes my overwhelm, where I cause my overwhelm.
Yeah. And then like taking off that weight and allowing the energy to move beyond that or behind that,
Mm-hmm.
always reveals something deeper. And I'm loving this conversation. Thank you so much for your insight on this.
I think I just had the image of one of those clown hats where once you take, you start to pull flags out and then like more and more flags come out. It's like, once I get started, sometimes like, oh, and I want to tell so-and-so that, oh, and then there's that. And there is a sense of vitality that comes with that. And each completion there, may have its own feeling waves behind it, and then completing that, and that, there's an aliveness in the completing that allows me to live fully now. And, I think it probably took me a few years to get current when I first started this, because I was kind of a really good at like sucking it all up and holding it all in and not, all of that. And so, to just, the one that comes up right now is the one that wants to get expressed. And how can I do that in a way that, supports my well-being? And then that finishes, and then I can take a breath and like, okay, is there more? That's one of my favorite questions these days. Okay, and is there more? And is there more? And then, until I feel like, oh, okay, that's enough for now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I feel the arc of our conversation saying that's enough for now. And I feel like bubbly and warm in my heart, connecting with you. And I appreciate you for helping me see the the clown visual of all the scarves that are like kind of the weaving of energies of our connections between each other as family and friends and acquaintances that we see on Facebook. So thank you.
Well, and thank you for being a space into which I can express so easily. Feel so welcomed.
You're welcome. Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.